Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Don't look at your daughter's looking at you. Stefan, you forgot you had your mask on and then you...
Heart been broke so many times, I don't know what to believe. Mama, baby, come give me something, oh. Baby, come give me.
Do you see this? This was posted on House of Highlights. Dude just gave himself CTE, LeBron has been reduced to making TikToks, and Stephen Curry appears to be at his wit's end. This is the current state of sports. What seemed to be a relatively harmless virus just a couple months ago has taken the world hostage and turned the NBA upside down. In 1996, Space Jam foretold of these events when the NBA commissioner shut down the league due to a mysterious illness that crippled the NBA and sent players home with little to no certainty of their future. Coincidence or crazy accurate prediction? Coincidence. I mean, I have yet to see Looney Tunes play basketball, 15-foot tall space monsters, and Michael Jordan dunk from half court with the help of his 10-foot long arm. And yet, 19 days ago, this work of fiction took one step closer to reality. Well, not this part. This part. On March 11th, the league officially suspended the remainder of the NBA season due to a respiratory illness that I can't say out loud on YouTube, called this, better known as this. And in the last few weeks, what seemed to be a mild outbreak of a relatively harmless illness has grown to unprecedented proportions. On March 9th, the first case of Rona hit the NBA when Rudy Gobert tested positive for the virus. A stunning turn of events that had the league in a state of shock. A healthy young man in prime physical condition contracting an extremely contagious virus that could cripple the entire league. Well, I mean, as long as he takes the necessary precautions and doesn't spread the virus any further.
Conference, and as a joke, he made sure, here he goes, made sure to touch every media microphone as he left.
Well, come on, it's not the man's fault. In a time of high tension and worry, he's just having a little bit of fun. It's not like any of his teammates are actually going to get Rona too. Huh. Welp. We're all doomed.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm! Wait. Everybody, calm down!
Okay, maybe that was an overreaction. Or maybe not. Because on March 11th, the league announced that it would be suspending the season for at least 30 days, at which time the league will reassess the situation and take further action. I have never seen anything like this. In fact, I spoke to my 81-year-old grandfather last week, and he said in all of his years, he had never seen anything like this. We are in unventured territory. Although, we have seen events that have led to an incomplete NBA season. For example, the 2011 NBA lockout forced the season from 82 games to just 66. Even worse was the 1998-99 NBA season, where a lockout led to a regular season with just 50 games. But of course, these occurrences were very different in nature than the widespread suspension we are seeing unfold today. With the current suspension of the NBA, there will be a minimum of 259 postponed or canceled NBA games. Leading up to this epidemic, excluding weather-related incidents in the entire history of the NBA, there have only been 19 canceled or postponed games. We are witnessing history, for better or for worse. As of right now, there are 12 NBA players that tested positive for Rona. Now this may not seem like much, but consider the fact that 9 of the 12 players tested positive after the NBA season was suspended. This is not a matter of how many players currently have the virus, but how many players have it and haven't even been tested yet. Which, in my opinion, completely validates the NBA's decision to put a halt to the season until we get the situation under control. A decision that will cost the league well over $500 million. And that number is based purely off of ticket sales. That does not include merchandise, food or concessions at games, or TV deals with major and local networks. But the loss the NBA is facing this season doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of what is to come for the league. In a statement released last week, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver stated that the league will be pushing to restart the season where it left off, finishing the remaining 259 games sometime in June and pushing the NBA Finals all the way back to July or August. Which sounds simple enough, but consider the larger effects this will have on the league. The NBA draft will be pushed back to August. NBA arenas host many events during the summer. Where will these acts perform if the NBA now needs these arenas in the summer? A finals in July or August also means that the NBA is considering starting the 2020-2021 season on Christmas Day, nearly 2 months after its usual start date. And those are games that will not be made up. The NBA is also considering resuming the season straight into the playoffs, which makes all of those load management games look all the more useless. And believe it or not, these are conservative estimates to the fallout regarding this situation. The NBA has set a deadline of August 1st to resume the season, meaning they have until August 1st just to make a decision as to how they want to proceed. So in honor of a great season that we may not see the conclusion of, here are some NBA records that were set to be broken this year. Some of these marks would just need to be maintained for the rest of the season to break the previous record, and some have the potential to break a previous record if the season continues for 82 games. Now, whether the NBA will recognize these records considering the circumstances, well, who knows? But leading us off is James Harden with 2 potential records this season, with both free throws made and 3-point attempts in a single season. At the pace he's going, he may or may not break these records, but in an 82-game season, it would be extremely close for both records. Mitchell Robinson, of all players, is set to break 2 NBA records this season: highest field goal percentage for a season and highest true shooting percentage for a season, taking down one of Wilt Chamberlain's 3,000 NBA records. Another player who was set to break one of Wilt's records is Giannis Antetokounmpo, who was on pace to break the NBA record for highest PER in a single season with 31.85, possibly the most impressive record that was projected to be broken this season. Of course, there's Vince Carter, who was set to break the record for most seasons played in a career with 22, breaking Dirk Nowitzki's record of 21 just last season. And how can we talk about this season without mentioning the outburst of offense on a level that we have never seen before? This season, there are 6 players who are currently averaging over 28 points per game, tying the NBA record. Now, that may not sound crazy until you consider the fact that in 5 seasons between 2010 and 2015, just 5 players averaged 28 points per game or more. The 2019-2020 NBA season has featured some of the greatest performances in NBA history. With nearly a quarter of the season remaining, the NBA has had 41 games that featured a 45-point performance from a single player. That means, on average, every other day of the season saw a 45-plus point performance. At this pace, a full NBA season this year would have had about 55 such games. From 2009 to 2014, the NBA only had 52 of these games. This season so far has been pretty remarkable. But what some may not know is that with 259 games left in the season, this season the NBA has produced 9 of the top 100 games in the modern NBA. The previous record for top 100 games in a season was 7. If the season continued through 82 games, it is on pace to have 12 of the top 100 games ever played in the modern NBA. To put this season into perspective, the average NBA season features just 2 or 3 games of this caliber. In regards to NBA awards, if the season does not resume, the regular season awards should look like this: Giannis with the MVP, Ja Morant with Rookie of the Year. The 6-man award would presumably go to Lou Williams, which would be his 4th time winning the award, the most in NBA history. The Most Improved Player award would more than likely fall in the hands of Brandon Ingram, and it's well deserved. Defensive Player of the Year could go to Giannis or Rudy Gobert, but it'll more than likely be Anthony Davis. And Nick Nurse will win Coach of the Year. Oh, and I almost forgot. Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell with the Deadliest Duo Award.
Emmy for Outstanding Comedy Series goes to.
So let's say the regular season did end on March 11th and the NBA was forced to jump straight into the playoffs. Well, in that case, the first round would look like this. The Spurs' 22-year playoff streak would come to an end and the Warriors would go from 5 straight finals to far and away the worst team in the entire league in just one season. When the NBA will return, well, we'll just have to wait and see. But this situation will without a doubt have a ripple effect throughout the entire league and our society as a whole for years to come. How the NBA will rebound from this has yet to be determined, but until then, looks like it's old highlights, marble races, this guy getting a bowling ball yeeted at his head, and shenanigans like this. Hang in there, boys. And as always, until next time.